Avengers Endgame's timeline explained. Hello everyone! After watching Avengers Endgame, how many of you had spent days lying awake at night because you were trying to figure out the time paradoxes? Or maybe some of you were even drawing out visual aids of the timeline. We know the time travel theories the MCU introduced are complex. Also, the film is very long, over 3 hours. It makes its timeline of events slightly confusing. Here's exactly how Marvel's time travel works and how it doesn't. Spoiler alert, this video has major spoilers, and motivate us by clicking on that there subscribe button. Let us start from the point in the movie when the Ancient One meets Banner. Ancient explained that each of the Infinity Stones help keep the core timeline in place. So that means if the Avengers remove them, they'll create splinter timelines, and that would hypothetically continue alongside the original one. To make it more clear, the term we can use for this is multiverse. Yes, it's like a formation of one more universe. Now keep this multiverse in mind. It will help you all in understanding the concept. Let's dive deeper now. Time travel, quantum realm. Well, Avengers use time travel in order to undo everything done by Thanos' snap. The key to time travel is revealed by Scott Lang. Yes, when he escapes from the quantum realm. He was stuck for 5 years, ever since the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp there. An interesting part is that time operates differently there. If we talk about Scott, for him it seemed like he was only gone for 5 hours. So that's it. He takes this info to the Avengers. Obviously, he needs a big brain to figure things out. Time travel doesn't work that way. At first, Tony Stark isn't interested much. So Professor Banner comes forward to help the Avengers to get back in time. Banner reminds the group that time travel doesn't really work the way it does in movies such as Back to the Future or The Terminator. That means killing baby Thanos isn't possible at all. According to Banner, you can't just go back in time and change the past in order to alter the future. Why? Because the future is already your past. You can't change the future because if you did, you wouldn't be the same version of yourself who time traveled in the first place. We told you. Now, see? It is confusing. Instead, any change to history will create an alternate or divergent timeline. Yes, it will lead to that multiverse we told you about earlier. Just a parallel reality will be born, where Thanos died as a baby. But the world of our heroes would remain unchanged. So, what to do then? Time heist. Tony Stark can't help himself, and he basically figures out how time travel works. Then, of course, he joins his old teammates. Then comes the plan. 3 teams are sent back to various points in time and space in order to get each Infinity Stone from a time before Thanos had them. The Avengers will then take them back to their present time of 2023. Yes, 5 years after the snap. They will use them to undo the decimation with a new snap. But, as we had discussed, the theory told by Ancient to Banner. The stones being together keeps the timeline intact. That's why once the Avengers finish undoing the decimation in 2023, they must return the stones to the exact moment they took them from the past. Hence, the timeline won't be altered. And that's what Captain America apparently does at the end of the film. Splintered timelines. But the plan didn't work accordingly. Actually, the nebula of the present's mind and memories mix with those of the nebula of the past. This is the first potential point where alternate timelines got created. This allows the Thanos from around the time of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 to see the future. Yes, he even saw his own death and the time heist plan too. So he travels into the future to the present of Endgame in 2023. It leads to the film's end. Yes, the end with Iron Man's death as he snaps Thanos and his army. But how is this possible? How could the Thanos of the past be killed in Endgame? Now, he will never be able to find the Infinity Stones, put them in the Infinity Gauntlet, and wipe out half of all life, leading to the Avengers coming up with the time heist plan, unless this Thanos is from a divergent timeline. This timeline got created by the fact that history got altered. The same question applies to the Gamora of the past. She didn't die on Vormir, and is seemingly alive. At the end of Endgame, Star-Lord is preparing to go find her in space. If she's living in the present, how can her future self have died in the past? Answer is divergent timeline. Another potential is the Loki. He escapes with the Tesseract right after the Battle of New York, but this is another big question that comes out of the Avengers time travel. Because guys, not only did he disappear into a portal to points unknown, but he also took the Space Stone with him. That's why Cap and Iron Man had to go back even further to the 1970s. But by the end of the film, when Captain America returns all of the stones to their rightful place, there's no way he could have returned to the one that past Loki made off with. Perhaps we'll learn more about this in the Disney Plus Loki show, but it sure seems like that's another divergent timeline right here. And then there's Cap. He winds up living out his life with Peggy Carter in the past, but this conflicts with what we know to be Peggy's history in the MCU. She married a man who Cap saved during World War II. If Cap and Peggy got together in the past, then that aspect of her history would have to be altered, so creating a different timeline. Well, it's also worth asking how the elderly Cap made it back to the main MCU timeline, if he was living his life differently. Did he somehow fall upon tech that allows him to travel across realities as well as time? That means Cap's story is yet to be revealed. Maybe there's a story there. You never know. The bottom line. So, what can we say about time travel in Endgame? It's clear now, like the Hulk pointed out, changing the past won't change the characters' futures. But despite the team's best efforts, at least some divergent timelines were formed, all of which brings us back to the beginning, when we said that time travel in the MCU was confusing. What do you make of the MCU's take on time travel? Let's discuss in the comments, and thanks for watching.